Not everybody can be in the top 1%, right? Not everyone can push 30K. That's what he said about not everyone's going to be XQC. You kind of just have to find your own rhythm. I think that if you can just kind of find the reason you want to do something that doesn't directly involve having other people support you through views and engagement and kind of keeping up all different social media, I think it'll be a little bit healthier. How's it going, everyone? My name is Justin. Welcome back to my channel, and you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, you're looking at his face right now. This is Devin Nash. We're going to be talking about streamers who obsess over view counts. And Devin Nash, I believe he runs a creative agency called Novo, I believe, where he works with brands and influencers across different new media platforms. But he covers live streaming, YouTube, just what trends are kind of happening in the world. I watched a lot of his stuff in the past when I'm at the gym and whatnot. But this is the first time I'm going to be reacting to what he has to say. And without further ado, let's just jump into it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell a specialist, what he's doing. I generally don't put a lot of what he says into practice, but I like listening to him. So let's check it out and see what he has to say.
Things that has always driven me crazy about the live streaming world is the obsession with view counts, the big red number, how many viewers this person gets versus this person getting. Oh, this person has tons of viewers. I'm a content creator. I don't have enough viewers. I want to make the definitive video that discusses, is viewer count actually important? Where do we get it wrong? What is this stat about? How many of these people are even real? And let's actually dispel all of the myths around view count and really get down to what it is. Before we begin, my name is Devin Nash. I own an agency called Novo, where we do a bunch of brand marketing deals. We take care of a bunch of broadcasters and YouTubers in the space. And we focus on platforms like YouTube and Twitch, where I like to explore these ideas, particularly around marketing and advertising. So thank you for joining me.
Okay, so I kind of had it right. It's been a while since I've watched one of his videos, but I know that he kind of does this spiel a lot. And he did mention this in one of his other videos, like to have like a 1 or 2 sentence thing about who you are, what you're trying to do, what you represent. So, and he's covered a lot of what he just said a second ago in other videos. So I'm curious what this definitive kind of video is going to be about.
We are going to start by
the
kind
notepad.
of outlining the problem. So I think that this is kind of a big issue that not really anyone talks about in the sort of ecosystem as a whole of view counts. It affects large broadcasters that every single time they get offline, if you hear any conversation between large broadcasters, they're just comparing themselves to each other and who got more or less view counts. Small broadcasters, it's also toxic because they are comparing themselves to everyone else, particularly in their own category. But what you see with viewer counts is this constant comparison game. And what my hope is with this video and exposing some of the truth behind this is that content creators and also their viewers will reassess their relationship with view counts and maybe even turn off the stat entirely, because it is my opinion that view counts are basically totally useless as any kind of metric. We're going to discuss this, how many are even real of those viewers and what a viewer really is. But before that, I think that people should hopefully reassess their relationship with view count after watching this video because of some of the things that we're going to talk about here. There's kind of an inherent cycle of destructiveness that happens with like the viewer count obsession, and it comes from creating this idea that Twitch is this really competitive ecosystem where there's not enough for everyone to eat. That means that what happens then is like people start throwing shade at each other. There's a lot of rivalry.
So to jump in and kind of weigh in on this, I want to say 2 things, and a bit of this is going to get a little personal. The first thing is that I wouldn't say that I ever really obsessed over view counts, but I was really kind of concerned about view counts at one point in my social media, it sounds weird to say career, but like what I've been doing, because I've probably explained this in a different video before, but in 2020, when I was hearing all of this talk and seeing these reports of like how much live streaming numbers were up and YouTube, numbers were up because a lot of people were indoors watching videos, my stuff didn't go up at all. And obviously I'm a super small channel both on Twitch and on YouTube, but I was streaming every day for only because there was nothing else to do, for hours. I was making some videos and it just wouldn't really get many views. So I know for a while I didn't really obsess over it, but once I kind of noticed that it wasn't going to grow and this is just what it's going to be, I definitely stopped focusing on it as much. With regards to what he's talking about, and this is going to be really interesting to delve into, obviously I'm not a large streamer. I'm not really a small streamer. I'm like a super tiny streamer. So I don't really hear these conversations happening of people that are like comparing, themselves to each other. I guess I'm sure that happens.
less collaboration, when in reality, if we actually look at Twitch as a whole and we look at the stats that actually matter, I'm going to show you why view count doesn't matter. And I'm going to actually show you what matters as well. Okay, so like I said, it's a problem with large and small broadcasters. Let's discuss why.
I feel like I should be taking notes.
Part of this, just the most basic thing, we're just going to hit a directory. We're going to hit a directory for Multiverses, which is a new game that came out that's really super sick. So I sort viewers from high to low, but the Twitch default is on recommended, and this is recommended for you. So a lot of people want to understand the recommended tab and want to understand like what goes into this. This is a huge feature of Twitch. This is now enabled by default on everyone's account, but nobody really knows what it does. So I just wanted to like outline what are some of the weighing systems. It's basically a weighing system, and it's going to weigh different things. So obviously number of viewers is one of the things it weighs, but it also weighs time broadcasted versus like, so are you streaming in your time slot? Is your stream almost over or just beginning? Right? That all matters because they don't want to send you to a broadcast that's about to end in 20 minutes and cause you to leave the website. Chat activity matters. So how much chat is going through the screen. Tags, games, and category, right? So what games have you watched in the past? If you've watched a lot of fighting games, then there's going to be a lot of fighting games that are recommended to you, etc., ARPGs, that kind of thing. And number of, a stat I call velocity, which is number of unique viewers that join in a short period of time. This is like, how many times have you seen a broadcast where there's like some...
And this is another thing I wanted to kind of comment on as well, just kind of like trying to interject my thoughts in as I go, is that I really like that he just knows all of this. Oh, man, it's such an unflattering image when you pause on somebody. It's just, it never looks good. But I really, this is like the thing I appreciate about his videos and I like watching is how he just kind of like off the cuff. There's very few things in life that I know as well as he does, where he can just rattle off exactly on a notepad, you know, all the things that are very useful to know about the recommended tab, you know, on Twitch. So just going through this again, viewers makes sense. Time broadcast. So this one was really interesting, right? So if you've been on there for like, I mean, not to say if you've been on streaming for like 24 hours, you're going to be higher than someone who is, you know, got more, you know, subscribers and I guess the subscribers, you know, and followers and things like that. But that's an important one. Chat activity, okay, makes sense. Tags makes that one. I thought I could have swore he's talked about in other videos that tags don't really matter, but tags might matter maybe, or I guess he might say that tags don't matter for discovery, even though the recommended tab I guess is a way to get discovered. And then your games category, that makes sense for what things you've streamed in the past. And that makes sense too, because sometimes I'll watch something on Twitch and be like, oh, you watch this one thing, like you start, you know, I guess you like this stuff. And then this one is interesting. Velocity of unique viewers that join in a short period of time. That one is very fascinating in part because, yeah, it almost might make sense from the perspective of if a whole bunch of unique viewers are like suddenly seeing this stream, Twitch, it might be like, oh, send these people this way so that they can, you know, watch more of that too.
Some big hype and everybody joins really fast, it will recommend that up very quickly because it thinks it's something that's going on.
Right.
Okay. So in the multiverses category, we can see that CLG Void, my boy, is number 1, and then following that is like Mirror Man, Mango. So some like there's Pokewalls here. Notice this is not by view count, right? So there's a guy at number 4 that's recommended at 79, and this is 159, right? So in the former category, when viewers were sorted high to low, this is like most of Twitch's life. We ran, I say we as an agency, ran a bunch of numbers on how many actual viewers find these broadcasts from these categories. And what we found was that the top 5 in a channel, when viewers are sorted high to low, generally the top 3, with some extent to these 2, get the most amount of actual new people checking out. So these are people that see a new game like Multiverses, they go into the search for it, they search for it on the bar, and they say, I want to watch some Multiverses stuff. They'll click on one of these 5 streams, but generally speaking, nobody's going to go down here and like
he's
search
talked
for
about
these
this
people,
before.
right? So now that things are recommended, it still affects those 5 streams, but notice this is not by view count anymore. It's by much more by these variables.
Other metrics,
but
right?
So view count is actually not going to help you get discovered. And furthermore, something that everybody should know is that beyond these 5 recommendations here, pretty much you're not going to get any inbound from new viewers that are actually coming from Twitch itself. At smaller broadcasters in this like 20 range, can actually test this by just saying like, how many of you came in from Twitch today in the chat, and you'll see that just nobody responds or says anything. So a lot of these people with these sort of 40 to 50 viewer channels are basically just not ever going to grow on Twitch, and there's basically no point in getting another 100 viewers. They're not going to get anywhere near this this top 5. Whether it's sorted by high to low or whether it's sorted by recommended. So
I wonder if something that he's going to jump into, and not to criticize his content at all, because I watch a lot of it, I know that he does kind of retread over similar ground. You know, one of the things that he talks about is the lack of discovery on Twitch and the different issues that Twitch has compared to something like a Facebook gaming or something like a YouTube, as far as how people get discovered and retain, you know, audiences, and then or I guess viewers, and then grow. So he's probably going to get a little bit more into that, but I think what he might jump into is obviously expanding your brand, or expanding, you know, you as a person beyond just live streaming. And then when you build up a brand outside of Twitch, then you can kind of maybe funnel that back in. And it's funny because, real quick, of course, to make this about me, my channel, one of the things that I wanted to start doing and making this sort of content where it is different than my live streaming stuff is that my live streaming stuff used to be just me playing games or just doing just chatting stuff, and then I would just export it to YouTube, and those views weren't doing very well. But not that it really mattered as far as views. Like, I'm not in that like mindset as far as like I got to get high views. But the thought was, it just kind of seemed weird to make the exact same content one place and then just export it somewhere else. So something I started doing recently, and this is maybe my 4th or 5th video doing this, is that now it's like whatever's on YouTube, it's distinctly different than what I might do on Twitch. Right now, Twitch is really kind of where I'm going to hang out and play games. Maybe a just chatting here or there, but it's just going to be like my gaming stuff. And the idea is, if anything in the future ever funnels into itself, it'll funnel into itself by the fact that maybe someone finds something in one place and they listen to commentary content that I do on YouTube, and they're like, okay, well, let me check out his gaming stuff. Or then the flip side of that, I'm going to be streaming on average longer than I'm going to be, you know, watching a video on YouTube. These are usually about 30 to 40 minutes. So then from there, somebody, if I say something and I bring up a video on my live stream, maybe they'll go check it out on my YouTube channel. So I think he'll get into that, but we'll see.
Their view count doesn't actually matter that much for discovery. And the thing is that the better this recommendation system is getting, and I have to say, for a system that was implemented about 2 years ago, I'm actually pretty impressed by how accurately it weighs. It's not an easy feat to weigh live streams. And I think that the product managers have found a lot of the variables that actually matter, and generally recommendations work pretty well. So the better that this system gets, the less that view count will matter for actually getting discovered, right? I assume that if we just take ego out of it and we say, why do I want more viewers? You want more viewers because you want to get discovered, you want to make more money, right? Those are the 2 reasons you'd want to. Or do you just want it so that you can be better than everybody else and like you're in like some ego world? There's only like 3 reasons why. When you really think about if you need a large viewer count, it starts to not make sense in terms of discovery, right? So
all right, so I'm going to interject this because I feel like he touched on it, and I need to do a better job at like pausing this when like I hear something that I kind of want to comment on right then. So he hit on something that I think is really, really important. And the important thing was, a lot of people, I think, that are streaming want to stream, and they want the high view counts, they want the high subscriber counts, they want people to subscribe and donate and things like that in order for them to ultimately make a living off of, you know, live streaming. You know, in the case of Twitch, or in the case of YouTube, you know, you want the subscribers, you want the view counts, you want the comments, you want the engagement, so that you can then use that to get sponsorships and other sort of deals and whatnot. So everybody's out here just trying to get money, trying to get that attention in order to have that be their livelihood.
Higher viewers doesn't equal discovery, except in insane rare cases where obviously somebody's like taking over the entire website. So on Twitch's case, something like XQC, who has like 100,000 viewers, will just passively gain viewers because people assume there's something so crazy that, but like, one of the kind of things that drives me nuts about people that are talking about new media statistics, we often hyper focus on these like levels of broadcasters where literally only 1 or 2 of those people exist. So the number of people that like eclipse 2 or 3 there's 2 or 3 broadcasters on Twitch that eclipse like 70 to 80,000 viewers. It just doesn't happen ever. So there's no reason to really discuss this, because you as a content creator, the person that you're watching this for, will never be XQC, right? Most likely. And if you are, you'll have like different problems. But
don't be too discouraged. But yeah, I mean, he makes a good point, and I'm gonna look at the comments towards the end of this video as well. But he makes a good point. If you are watching this video, you're not one of those top 1% people, unless you're like an Asmongold, and I think he does watch some Devin Nash videos. But generally speaking, you know, you're out there streaming, you're out there doing other things. You're not too focused on you know, trying to grow yourself through a Devin Nash video.
XQC still thinks about viewer count all the time. So maybe this video will help him too. Some of the larger broadcasters like him are a little bit better about it. Some of them aren't. So the directory system, it doesn't matter so much that you have 50 viewers versus 500 versus 5,000. But if you have 50 viewers and then you go to 5,000 in 5 minutes, that is discovery. Twitch will actually push you. So what that tells you is that getting any kind of flow from another website, like if you could make a Twitter post, you could get huge engagement, everybody checks out your stream, then Twitch will throw you into recommended for a duration because it sees
he's hitting on it,
coming in. So
trying
this
to
is, again,
grow yourself.
another reason to diversify to other websites
there it
to
is.
build to actually get discovered on Twitch.
All that really sort of demonstrates is that I watch a lot of his videos. It's not like I know, like I'm a master marketer and advertiser, and no. I mean, all the stuff that he talks about, to an extent I do. I don't do all of it. I don't have the time to do all of it, but it just goes to illustrate that I watch a decent amount of his stuff. And it's true. I think that, you know, if I were giving advice to somebody, and sometimes I think about this, if I were giving advice to somebody that was new to streaming and they were like, hey man, I want to start my own stream. First off, I wouldn't tell them anything that I do because obviously it hasn't worked for me. But I'd let them know about the things that what Devin's saying. You know, I think there's obviously multiple different ways to the top of the mountain, as it were. But I think a big part is having an established audience of some kind elsewhere. You know, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, you know, start to build up a following. It sounds weird to say it this way, or start to have a presence elsewhere. And then you can kind of get people to kind of start to support all of your other endeavors, and then it kind of funnels and cycles into itself.
And think about how the recommendation system is ideally supposed to work. So what is the best stream that Twitch can possibly recommend, right? It's the stream that you want to watch the most. It's not the stream that has the most viewers. So the more that the recommended system gets implemented, the less that the viewer counts will matter. And I think that's already kind of becoming true. It'll only get more irrelevant as time goes by.
I wonder if he's going to hit on
doesn't really help with discovery, but does view count
turn him down a little bit more
money
on my side, just so I can kind of talk over him a little bit.
More viewers doesn't actually equal more money, okay? Because what Twitch is switching to now, a dynamic CPM ad revenue share model. So previously,
there's only one video that he's done that like really went over my head as far as how he described it. But
flat CPM.
Okay.
So CPM is 1,000 views.
Is it clicks per minute?
X money. What is X? Well, it's dependent on what the ad sells for, or in the case of what am I thinking here? Oh yeah, dynamic ad revenue share or flat. Sorry, my mind blanked out there. In case of flat, it's just the rate. So flat could be like $5. Dynamic equals what you sell the ad for. So Twitch is moving from a flat system of a certain flat rate. I don't know what I do know what the rate is, but I'm just putting an arbitrary number.
Right.
Dynamic to dynamic, which is going to be a rate that changes depending on what they sell the ad for. Okay, so
depending on what they sell the ad for. So for what Twitch sells the ad for. Okay.
Dynamic CPM means, let's say you sell an ad for $50 CPM, you might give the streamer 25 if it's 50%. I need to do a whole nother video on ad revenue counts, and I was just thinking about if I wanted to go through a tangent of exactly how this works. I don't. It's going to take 50 minutes, and we're already going to talk a lot about this. So the reason this is important is because right now, if you get a flat CPM, then 1,000 views gets you X amount of money. With a flat CPM, having more viewers technically does get you more ad revenue, but because your CPM is capped at a very low rate, you aren't going to meaningfully make any more. Subscribers, number of subscribers absolutely does not equate to number of concurrent viewers. People that have 10,000 viewers and have 200 subscribers. There are people with literally 100 viewers.
Wait, let me hear him say that again.
10,000 viewers absolutely does not equate to number of concurrent viewers. People that have 10,000 viewers and have 200 subscribers.
10,000 viewers and 200 subscribers? I guess what he's saying, and he's probably going to elaborate more on this, and I get it. I think what he's saying is that there are people who have more viewers than they have subscribers. And I guess that makes sense. I mean, I don't watch Twitch all that much, but yeah, I guess there are a lot of people that I would imagine you can watch something without being subscribed to it.
There are people with literally 100 viewers that have thousands of subscribers. You can go check twitchtracker.net to see this. There's tons of examples of this, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples of some interesting stuff later. So the dynamic versus flat rate means that people that have a high concurrent count, unless it's insanely high, like 30,000, 40,000 viewers, will not meaningfully increase their ad revenue. 2,000 viewers versus 5,000 viewers doesn't meaningfully increase your ad revenue until Twitch switches to the dynamic model and starts selling those ads for more, which they just announced they're doing. That's topic for another video. But it's not going to help you actually make more money except in terms of ads. It doesn't help you get more subscribers. That's actually call to action. Doesn't help you get more followers because, again, it doesn't in the directory. So let's talk about what stats actually do matter. So
I mean, it's got to be engagement stuff, right?
What should I be focused on?
Like engagement in the chat?
Well,
this has
the
to be
number one most important stat, what do you think it is?
Engagement?
The number one most important stat is actually followers.
Oh, okay.
People are going to freak out because they're like, wait, what? I thought followers are totally useless, right? Particularly, it's two stats within followers. Followers gained per hour.
No, I can't scroll down.
And followers gained total. So notice I didn't say number of total followers because this stat is useless.
Okay.
Number of total followers is usually inundated by bots. It's impossible to know how many of those accounts are active versus inactive. But followers gained per hour is users saying, I like this content enough that I would check it out again. That's huge. That's way bigger than an impression. That's a big engagement. Followers gained total is how many users said the above. So these are the two stats that actually matter in terms of growth. Let me show you what I mean. So we're going to look at two streams. I'm going to show you one, which is CoCarnage. CoCarnage is a Twitch ambassador, and he is a phenomenal variety broadcaster, very family friendly. He's been on Twitch forever. Absolutely phenomenal broadcaster. We're going to take a look at his total follows per day. You're going to see there 286, 49, 210, 76. These are net follows, okay? And I'm going to compare CoCarnage to a person who has been here just as long and is also an active broadcaster with the exact same amount of concurrent viewers. Okay, so CoCarnage usually hits around like 10 to 11K. This broadcaster coming up also hits 10 to 11K, and that is Amaranth. Amaranth has about the same number of concurrent viewers, but let's check what her follow numbers actually are. Amaranth has a coming up, also hits.
I'm just looking at, so concurrent. I'm not following this. I might have to pull this up separately. So followers, 1,000,004. Okay, and then I'm not seeing
at his total follows per day. You're gonna.
Okay, so followers per day. Okay, I see that. Video views. Oh, so I get. I don't know.
See there, 286, 49, 210, 76. These are net follows. Okay.
Net follow. Okay.
And I'm going to compare CoCarnage to a person who has been here.
I thought he was
also an active broadcaster with the exact same amount of concurrent viewers. Okay, so CoCarnage usually hits around like 10 to 11K. This broadcaster coming up
10 to 11K
also hits 10
viewers.
to 11K, and that is Amaranth. Amaranth has about the same number of concurrent viewers, but let's check what her follow numbers actually are. 6,000, 2,500, 2,000, 5,200. So what's going on here? Why is it that CoCarnage's stream has only a few hundred followers every day net? Because this also includes atrophy of users that are going off. But then you look at Amaranth, and she has about the same number of concurrent viewers, but she is growing absolutely immensely. The answer here is because the number of people that are incoming to Amaranth's stream are not coming in from Twitch. They're coming in from other platforms that she advertises on because Amaranth has 4 YouTube channels. She has a massive Instagram. She has a massive TikTok. She has a huge network of social media where she is utilizing that to funnel to her central Twitch that then funnels out to things like OnlyFans or Fansly, which is her basic business model. Carnage, however, is a broadcaster who's much more comfortable just kind of chilling on Twitch. He has his core community. He's really happy with that. He does some really innovative stuff. Like just recently he announced this mobile app, which is really cool. I think no broadcasters have really done anything like this, and it shows an example of just how far ahead his marketing team is. But Carnage doesn't really do the TikTok game, the extra advertising and all these other places, because he's very content with like where he's at. He's cool with like the number of concurrents he has. He gets to play any game he wants for a certain number of viewers, which is a high number of viewers. He makes way more than enough money to support his family. He's good, right? He doesn't need to do that kind of stuff. Amaranth has big goals. She wants to start multi-million-dollar charities, and so there's just a difference. But what this actually exemplifies, it's really fascinating, right? You take two streamers who are basically the exact same size right now, and you look at their follower accounts, you see the vast difference. Now, Carnage is interesting because if you look at many of the broadcasters who are this old in terms of how long they've been on Twitch, like 8 or 9 years, you actually see that a lot of their follower accounts are negative. And what is going to happen if this plays out over time and nothing different happens is that those broadcasts will eventually die. Whereas if you look at Amaranth, like this trajectory puts her on like 20 to 30K concurrent viewer range. But what's actually important about this is just exemplifying how you can see the growth or health of a stream. Now, if I weren't looking at followers gained, I would not know this because I would just be looking at concurrent viewers. Everything would look the same.
So I wonder if he's going to hit on this.
You can't judge a stream's growth or its general health,
but I want to see if he's going to touch on engagement in chat.
Right? We would generally be saying that
I'm pretty sure he's got to.
Here would be on a dangerous trajectory, but Carnage is really aware.
I might skip ahead in just a second to see if he's going to touch on that.
I use him as an example because he's one of the very few broadcasters where it's like this is not exemplary of like a dying broadcaster. But if you come on here and you see some of these are like -10, just the atrophy is greater than the growth, and the broadcaster is aware of that but not doing anything, it'll become a problem. This is something that Carnage could course correct instantaneously if he wanted to by like creating another YouTube channel or doing highlights or any number of things. So I'm not worried about covering that here, but just looking at the difference, it shows you the difference in health between broadcasts just by that stat, because that stat is so important. So followers gained per hour and followers gained total is super important for a broadcaster. The other thing that's really important is minutes watched per unique viewer.
Minutes watched. Okay, so not chat engagement.
To get this number, you do hours watched divided by 60.
Oh, man.
And then you multiply that.
He's not scrolling down, so I can't see it.
And you'll get minutes watched per unique viewer. So a minutes watched per unique viewer is how long the average viewer watches your stream for. You can also just go to twitchtracker.net and then you can just plug in your stream and you'll see how many people are actually watching and for how long. It'll tell you per stream how long they're doing it. Okay. Generally speaking, this number is quite high on Twitch. It's anywhere from 50 to 120 minutes. To put that into perspective, people watch the Super Bowl for an average of 56 minutes, so it's a heck of a long time. And the way to understand why this is important is because this is the main way that you make money from sponsors. Because if I can say, okay, one user watches my show for 60 minutes and I show them an ad every 10 minutes equals 6 impressions, 1 impression costs X.
Sponsorships
right? So
are real. Sponsors are going to love that.
You can raise the price of that impression or you can raise the number of impressions. So the two ways to scale that model. So if one user watches for 80 minutes instead, now I have 8 impressions instead of 6. So that's a good way to price things out. Also tells how much users are actually interested in your content. Number of subscribers, big surprise, right? People who have actually hit the pay button and have said, hey, I actually want to subscribe to this stream. That actually matters.
He's not scrolling down,
way too often,
unless
actual income and number of subscribers gets ignored. I have seen so many broadcasters that are in like the 200 to 300 range, or hell, the 1,000 to 2,000 concurrent range. I know a broadcaster who's like regularly getting like 1,000 to 2,000 viewers, and they are hitting like $400,000 to $500,000 in income. I know another broadcaster is getting that number, and they're barely making about $3,000 a month. So you can't put a price on a stream based on concurrent viewers because there's so many different ways to monetize. There's merchandise, there's different levels of engagement with your community, there's different levels of subscribers.
You know, I'm going to call it there only because I've rambled on long enough, but I get the gist, and I may finish this video a little bit later in the day or another day, but it seems that if I could provide a little bit of a takeaway as I close this out, it sounds as though there was this thought, right? It's the title is streamers who obsess over view counts. So the thought is, I want my view counts to be as high as possible. But given that it sounds like what he mentioned, Twitch moving to a little bit more of a dynamic system for ads, as well as I was mistaken. I thought engagement through chat would have worked. No, it seems as though, like I said, like he was mentioning, total followers is a big deal. And then watch time, you know, how long is someone watching for? I'm sure he might get to it. I just don't want this video to go on too long. But I would imagine forms of engagement. And then as he compared Amaranth to, it sounds like Co-Carnage, it looked like, and it was something I hit on a little bit earlier, mainly because I watch a lot of his stuff. It's about having your presence or your brand kind of diversified elsewhere. So it's something that he has hit on before. And like I mentioned, if someone were interested in, I wouldn't suggest it to them, but if someone was interested in kind of growing themselves and trying to turn the lifestyle of a content creator, whether it be Facebook, whether it be live streaming or on Twitch, or whether it be YouTube, the idea is or TikTok, Instagram, you kind of have to have a presence everywhere. It's one of the reasons why I have all these links at the bottom of this video down here for my stuff. You know, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And you kind of have to be active in those places. You know, I don't think he's really going to comment on that, but it's not enough to just have those. It's something you have to be quite active on. That way, when you find new people who discover you, they can learn that, oh, you have this link tree of all this other stuff. So as always, great video by Devin. I really like this stuff. I'll probably watch a little bit more of this later and kind of go from there. But that's it for me. I thought it was a good video. If you want to watch more of my stuff, like I said, I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm going to try to follow a little bit more of this guy's advice and be a little bit in other places. So I'll catch you in the next video. Check out my other videos. I'm out.